Hey you guys, just a little heads up, in today's video there are spoilers for the end of game of God of War Ragnarök, so viewer discretion is advised. What's going on, you guys? It's your huggable hipster here, and welcome back to another episode of Psychologically Gaming, where today I'm going to be diving into Sindri from God of War Ragnarök. I've been so excited to do this episode, and you guys have been giving me such an overwhelmingly positive response for these Psychologically Gamings recently, so I really appreciate that. There's like a trend that's going around where everybody is doing like makeshift dark, like under eye circles, and I'm like, these were not popular when I was a kid. Okay, you got made fun of for your dark circles. I was born with these. Beat that. All right, let's get into this casual nerd before I spontaneously combust. So we're diving into Sindri today. Sindri by far has to be one of the most interesting characters besides Odin in God of War Ragnarök. Why? Because he has a combination of OCD and he's also a germaphobe. One thing that really caught me off guard with his character was when we get to a certain part in the game when he is consoling Atreus, he will put his hand around his shoulder and he can't stand touching other things that are possibly dirty and have like dirt all over them. So for him, that's such a big step. And I think that is so cool and such a glow up for his character. Because if you think about it, no germaphobe, depending on the variance of the condition, will touch something that they know has had germs on it. So right there, that is what we call exposure therapy. He didn't even realize he was doing it, but that is indeed a form of exposure therapy. When you are doing something that is based within your trauma, or that is something that is so outside your comfort zone. Because when you're experiencing something, let's say you have OCD, which this character does. Let's say, for example, with OCD, you don't do something within that OCD. Like, let's say your compulsion is to turn light switches on and off 5 times. You just don't do that. That would be a part of exposure therapy. So when we talk about OCD and we talk about being a germaphobe, there are certain things that go into these characterizations that there's different layers to them. So we're seeing one version of being a germaphobe and having OCD. And I just want to make you guys aware that there are so many different variances of mental disorders, mental conditions, all that kind of stuff. So I don't know how it looked to all of you guys who played the game, but when I looked at his character, by the time that Brock died and by the time that he was killed by Odin, who was Tyr, I think that that was his kind of mental breaking point of where it didn't matter about his OCD. It didn't matter about being a germaphobe. He just wanted to cope in the best way that he knew possible. Because the thing is that like he had all this stuff, like all this muck, all this dirt on him. Like when we get to meeting him at the place where him and Brock first reconciled in God of War 2018. And the thing is though, is when Atreus sees Sindri, and he talks with him for a bit, which, by the way, that is the best cutscene by far in the game, is that conversation between Atreus and Sindri, because you see a lot with their character development. Sindri says, this is what sorry looks like. And he's filled with dirt, and he has muck all over him, and he's completely just completely down mentally and physically, and he just doesn't care anymore. He doesn't care that he has dirt on him. He doesn't care about anything because he just lost his brother, that he already went to get pieces of his soul back once. And now Brock is like, no, you gotta let me go. You gotta understand that it is time to let me go. So there is definitely a trauma in loss. There is a trauma in building up yourself to a certain point of where you feel like all you have to do is survive and you'll be okay. But seeing all these different developmental, like psychological developmental steps that the character of Sindri takes in order to just survive. And I feel like it's not even because he's trying to break these habits. He's just doing it because this is what he wants to do to be closer to the people that he cares about. But also at the end, when we see him finally just break apart, we see him do things because he knows he has to, not because he is trying to better anyone else. He's only going in it for self-interest at the end of the game. So when he puts his arm around Atreus, he's ignoring his germophobia, ignoring being the best word possible to describe right now, ignoring his germophobia to get closer and bond with the kid. But at the end of the game, when he destroys the soul of Odin, he's basically saying, F everybody, I don't care. You guys were supposed to do this a long, long time ago. Now I have to do everybody's work for them. It goes back to the point that Sindri made of where you took my treasures. You were a part of my home. You invited Odin into my home. And now I'm supposed to just sit around and wait while you guys decide what to do with Odin's soul? Like, what are we doing here exactly? So he's taking that initiative upon himself to really break the curse and break what is happening. Because Sindri goes from this really kind of strong character, but also very mentally bruised character who just wanted to be friends with everybody, to really this, again, a broken character, but now taking life into his own hands. Because we see such a soft, such a sweet, such a funny character at first, and then we see a pissed off Sindri. And I don't know about you, but I don't want to have a pissed off Sindri. So yeah, that was my kind of deep dive into Sindri's character. I'm pretty sure there are a few things that I was missing on his character. That was what I noticed and what the notes that I took down for like what his character and what his character development is. If you guys have any points that you want to add, please do add them down in the comments below. I would love to hear your guys' point of view on Sindri. And also, this is going to be the last Psychologically Gaming episode for now for God of War Ragnarök, because I think for the last, 3 days in a row, I was posting nothing but God of War Ragnarök. But if you guys like my face and what I do, please be sure to subscribe and hit that bell down below. I make videos every day here on YouTube. May you find your worth in the waking world, dear hunter. Stay casually nerdy, and I will see you all in the next video. Bye, you guys.